Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On August 24th, 1998, science fiction and conspiracy theory met science fact when the first successful human implant of a radio tracker was tested in the UK. Called Radio Frequency Identification, or RFID, the device consists of a miniaturized radio transponder that, when interrogated by a RFID reader, sends identifying information to that reader, usually a coded number that is interpreted as whatever identity of person is assigned to the implant. Far from the conspiracy theory systems that allow satellites to observe and report on the location and movement of people with implants, for the device to work, the reader must be quite close to the person with implant in order to identify the device within several meters. Another form of implant that is passive and does not require a battery of its own can be read by an RFID reader from up to hundreds of meters away. On August 25, 1967, U.S. Navy World War II pilot George Lincoln Rockwell was shot and killed by a former member of his hateful group. Born to European-American parents that worked as comedians, little was funny about George. His parents divorced when he was young, and he was later denied admission to Harvard. He did attend Brown University, but left in 1938 to join the Navy as a pilot. He served the U.S. Navy well during World War II, although he did not engage in combat. Recalled to active duty for the Korean War, his views became radical after the war, and he was discharged from the Navy in 1960 after founding the American Nazi Party in 1959, spewing hatred of Jews, blacks, and communists. Denying the Holocaust and advocating American blacks be sent to Africa, Rockwell was gunned down by a former party member that he had expelled. On August 26, 1972, the 20th Olympiad Summer Games portion opened in Munich, West Germany. Historic for many reasons, this edition of the Olympics featured the first ever named mascot of an Olympic Games, a dachshund named Waldy. In 1932, a Scottish Terrier born in the Olympic Village in Los Angeles became an unofficial mascot. Many mascots have been depictions of fauna endemic to the country or area the Olympics were being held at, and of course the dachshund is a dog closely associated with Germany. The name dachshund means badger dog in German, and the fierce little guys were bred to dive right into the burrows of those ferocious weasels. Although loving and gentle with people in general, even with children, the dachshund is often named as the most ferocious dog of them all. What would you pick as a mascot if the Olympics were held in your town? On August 27, 1982, far away from Anatolia, Justice Commandos of the Armenian Genocide killed a Turkish diplomat in Ottawa, Ontario, as vengeance for the Armenian Genocide of 1915. Time and distance do not always stop those bent on revenge, and we list a few of those incidents. In 1943, the U.S. conducted Operation Vengeance, sending P-38 fighters 435 miles to shoot down and kill Japanese Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the architect of the Pearl Harbor Raid. From 1972 to 1973, Israel's Mossad conducted Operation Wrath of God, revenge for the murders of Israeli athletes at the 1972 Munich Olympics. Hit squads traveled to Rome, Paris, Beirut, and Norway to kill a perceived Arab terrorist. Do you believe revenge is justified? On August 28, 1973, Stockholm, Sweden police arrested 2 bank robbers after a 5-day standoff in which the robbers held 4 people as hostages. Incredibly, the hostages seemed to take sides with the robbers, a psychological effect later named Stockholm Syndrome. The perpetrator of the crime, Jan Erik Olsson, was a convicted criminal that had absconded while on furlough from prison. A veteran of prior armed robberies, Olsson was armed with a submachine gun during the robbery. When police arrived at the scene, Olsson took hostages and the standoff began. Police brought Olsson's friend from prison to help with negotiations, which basically gave Olsson a partner. During their time as hostages, the people held allegedly became friendly with Olsson and took his side over the police, complicating the standoff. As a question for my students and subscribers, have you or anyone you know been taken hostage? On August 29, 1915, U.S. Navy salvage crews raised the submarine F-4 from the seabed off Honolulu, where she had sunk with all hands on March 25, 1915. The first USN sub lost and another in a long list of naval oops moments. Tiny by today's standards, the F-4 was only 142 feet and 7 inches long, with a beam of 15 feet, with a crew of only 21 on the day she sank. Her original name had been USS Skate, although it was changed before her launch. Interesting trivia regarding her salvage is that Navy diver John Henry Turpin, the first African American to serve as a master diver, helped conduct the salvage. Turpin is notable for having survived 2 separate explosions and sinkings of U.S. Navy ships, USS Maine in 1898 and USS Bennington 7 years later. On August 30th, 1974, the Third World Population Conference was held in Bucharest, Romania. The first such conference was held in Geneva, Switzerland in 1927, the idea of birth control advocate Margaret Sanger under the aegis of the League of Nations. Experts in health, food supply, fertility, and other relevant subjects met to examine how many humans the Earth could sustainably host. Subsequent conferences have been arranged by the United Nations starting in 1954. The conference spawned the International Union for the Scientific Study of Population, a subject fraught with religious, moral, and ethnic considerations. Scientists agree that the Earth can support a certain number of people before pollution, global warming, arable land, water quality, energy availability, ocean fish stocks, and other factors reach a tipping point that would mean mass starvation. As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.